Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. And I'm here today on a Monday, a new week. I hope that the last week was great and that you're looking forward to God doing things this week as well. And in addition, I have a new topic. I guess that's not surprising, but my topic this week is a little different than what I've had in the past. This week, I'm going to try to answer what I call the hard questions. These are the questions that many people face, probably you and me, about how God works. And there's an abundance that we could choose from. I'm going to do 5. And I want to tell you that I'm not going to give you the absolute definitive, this is it kind of an answer, because I'm not totally sure that's possible. However, I am going to give you what I believe are solid biblical answers to the hard questions that I bring up this week. So let's look at the first one. The question is this: is our destiny prearranged, or do we have some control over what happens? Now, there are some people, based on some limited scriptures, that say God is in charge of everything. That's right. He is. And then they say, so therefore, it doesn't matter what we do. If something good happens, that was God's will. If something bad happens, that was God's will. And I guess as long as you're on the good happening side, you feel pretty good about God. But when you get on the bad happening side, you kind of wonder, is this really what God is doing? Or maybe you're one of those who actually even curse him. And I'm not so sure that with that attitude, it might not be justified. So what I want to do is look at the scriptures to ask the question, are you in charge? Or does God just walk over you and determine everything before you ever get started? Now, in our culture, we have a long history of thinking we can change our destiny. And to a large degree, that's true. There are very many different ways of doing that. But what does the Bible say? Well, to find the answer, I'm going to go back deep into the Old Testament to the book of Deuteronomy. Now, Deuteronomy is the history of the Hebrews once they left Egypt, getting into the promised land, and all that happens during that time. So, here's what I want to start with. Chapter 30 of Deuteronomy, verse 11. Here's what it says. This command I'm giving you today is not too difficult for you. It is not beyond your reach. It is not kept in heaven so distant that you must ask, who will go up to heaven and bring it down so we can hear and obey it? It is not kept beyond the sea, so far away that you must ask, who will cross the sea to bring it to us so that we can hear and obey it? No, the message is very close at hand. It's on your lips and in your heart so you can hear and obey. Here's what 15 says. Now listen today. I am giving you a choice between life and death, between prosperity and disaster. I command you this day to love the Lord your God and to keep his commands, decrees, and regulations by walking in his ways. If you do this, you will live and multiply, and the Lord your God will bless you and the land you're about to enter and occupy. Well, it's talking about the Hebrews, obviously, but it's also talking about you and me. And God says, look, the choice, what's going to happen, is really close in hand. And it's a choice between what the Bible says, life or death. Let's expand that. It's a choice between goodness and not so much goodness. It goes on to say, it is a choice between prosperity and disaster. Now, if I have to make a choice, and I can, I'm choosing prosperity every time. I don't like disaster. Some people just seem to love wiggling around in trouble after trouble after trouble. But I don't do that. And I don't think you do either. So, if that's the choice, and it's a choice, we get to choose. You see that? God didn't say, here's what's going to happen to you. You get to choose. How do you choose? Well, it's real simple. Love the Lord your God, keep his commandments, and walk in his ways. Let me repeat that. Here's the secret. Love the Lord your God, keep his commands, and walk in his ways. Now, yeah, bad things will still happen, but God's power will overcome them. Yes, problems will come along, but God, in his graciousness, will give you the ability to solve them. Now, you're not going to solve them in 2 minutes, maybe, but you can solve them. It says, and if you do this, God will bless you and bless the land that you're going to. Bless your future. Now, it doesn't really matter how old you are. I'm older than many who are listening, and I'm not as old as some, but I still have a future, and so do you. And for those of you who are much younger, you have a future, and you have the ability to affect how that future turns out. How do you do that? Well, let me read it again. It's really, really simple. Love the Lord your God, keep his commandments, and walk in his ways. Is our destiny prearranged? No. He gave us free will and free choice. Now, while I'm not in charge of everything that will or can happen, God is. And by choosing to love him and walk in his ways, do what he says he will give me prosperity. Now, this is not a prosperity gospel that some people talk about. God only wants the best for you. Well, he does want the best for you, but that doesn't mean he wants you to be rich. I'm not sure God really cares that much about how much money you have or how many things you have. What he cares about is your quality of life. And who are you? Your character. You know, there's a simple word that overcomes all of that stuff about what you do or don't have, and the word is being content. Once we see God in our lives and at work and choose to walk with him, our future will be sure. What do you think about it? Hopefully, you'll find something happen today that will reinforce that thought. Thanks so much for listening. If you have a concern or a need, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as you can to help meet the need. We really will. But until then, and tomorrow, when I'll be back with another hard question, I wish you God's blessed. Take care. I'll talk to you again.